Hi everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for watching. So I thought this would be an appropriate time to share some of my Pan That palette advice with you guys. We are still pretty new into 2016 and I know there's a lot of people who are doing this project again for the second or third time, and there are people who are brand new to this challenge, so I thought maybe I'd be able to offer some advice and some inspiration, some little tips and tricks, some stuff that I learned along the way when I was panning the Naked palette from Urban Decay. If you are brand new to my channel, I did recently finish this guy up, completely panned it. You can always go check out my Pan That palette finale video. But I did learn some things along the way that I really wanted to share with you guys, so I hope that this is helpful. Just one quick thing before I dive in and share all my advice. Just wanted to say that there's no 365 days of samples update this week. I'm going to do a combined update next week. I did randomly choose my 7 items. I just had some really major filming technicalities. Something to talk about for another day. Anyway, let's dive into my advice. I asked you guys on Instagram and in previous videos if you had any questions for me. I only had 2 questions for my Instagram and I will answer those. But if you guys have any questions while you are watching this video, just leave them for me in the comments down below and I'll respond to you there. So starting at the very beginning, I think it's important to identify why you're doing this challenge, what you're hoping to accomplish, and what your goals are. It can be pretty personal sometimes. Some people are doing it because it's a financial issue. They want to stop spending money on makeup or stop spending as much money on makeup. Some people simply have a lot of makeup and they don't want to see it go bad. Some people just want to play around with eyeshadows that they haven't got a lot of use out of. So really, I think it's important to identify that, as well as your goals, such as, are you hoping to hit pan on all your shadows, or are you hoping to completely finish the palette? Because that's going to affect how you approach panning your palette. Somebody who is trying to finish the eyeshadows are going to be a little bit more hardcore with their usage, in that they're probably going to try and experiment a little bit more than just using it on their eyes, and they're definitely going to use the palette every single day, while someone who's just trying to hit pan on all their shadows probably won't need to use the palette every single day of the week. The biggest piece of advice I can give to everybody doing Pan That palette is to experiment with your eyeshadow. I think it's really fun. Eyeshadow is one of my favorite things anyway, and some people get stuck in eyeshadow ruts, and I definitely did too. Panning the Naked palette was one of the best things I ever did, simply because it forced me to think of other ways to use shadows. It forced me to try and come up with other looks, and I ended up coming up with some various things that I really fell in love with. For example, a dark smoky eye has become one of my go-tos, one of my staple makeup looks that I cannot live without, and I only started using that once I was trying to figure out how I could finish up Creep, which is the black shadow in the Naked palette. And when you go to experiment on your eyes itself, but you can also experiment on the back of your hand. Layer shadows. I have a few examples of that I went ahead and swatched from my Vice palette, just so I can give you guys some examples. So in the middle here, this is a matte black shade called Perversion, which is in the Vice LTD palette. I also swatched Perversion on either side, but I layered a different shadow on top of it. So on the top here is Crystal, which is a pale blue shimmery color. I layered that here on top of Perversion. And down here is Road Stripe, and I put Road Stripe on top of Perversion. So you can see there the different looks and how versatile. Another example, using the Hot Pink Junk Show, which is swatched by itself here, I swatched it again, and here I layered Laced on top of it, which is a matte shadow. This is Laced on its own. And then here I layered Road Stripe, which was this shade back here. So you can see the different effects. This is all Junk Show, just I layered a matte shade on top of it, and then I layered a duochrome, like transformative shade on top of it there. So you can see it's different. And it's been a lot of fun to experiment. I think that it's really worthwhile to spend like 1 or 2 days just swatching different things. Bring in shades from your makeup collection that aren't in your Pan That palette. Bring in some of your favorite singles. Bring in some of your favorite shades from other palettes. Mix and match things together, and I think you'll be really surprised with the looks that you come up with. One of my favorite looks that I've come up with so far for my Vice LTD was Crystal and Chase together, and I've been using these two a lot. And Chase is just beautiful gold color, and Crystal is that blue shade that I had swatched here, and together they're so beautiful. I had referenced a nature picture that had the blue sky and the golden sun, and I was really inspired by it, and I wanted to try and make an eyeshadow look created by it, and so I used these two, and it's so beautiful. I've been so drawn to it, and I've been using it a lot. And then there's Last Sin and Heat, and Last Sin is like it's this sparkly champagne color, and you've got Heat here, which is orange, and I wouldn't really think about pairing them together, but playing around with shadows and swatching them, they really complement each other very, very well. So doing that, spending that time, getting to know the palette a little bit better, getting to know what works and doesn't work is so important, and it's really going to help you have fun with panning your palette, and I honestly think you will discover at least one new shade combination that you're going to like, but probably so many more. So that goes into one of the questions that I was asked on Instagram. Mexanina asked about how you finish a color you don't like that doesn't suit you. Layering. Layering hands down. Layer the shadow you don't like on top of another shadow, or layer a shadow you like on top of it, or two shades you don't like. Try mixing them together because you really might end up liking what you come up with. It's a lot of experimentation. If you find that cool toned shadows don't flatter you, even after you've tried switching up your blush and your lipstick and you know it's just not working for you, it's not right, try layering warm tones on top of it. And you will get something a little bit different, but something that's probably a little bit more wearable for you. You are not committed to your palette 100%. Feel free to take other shades from your collection and use them because it will help. Another way to help use up shadows is to practice some different techniques. Use a shade you don't like and use it to try like the tape method where you have that piece of like scotch tape there and you're getting that harsh line. Use a dark shade that you don't like and just play around with it someday. Use the shades you don't like to experiment with. Try doing a halo eye or try doing a cut crease, and maybe you will end up really liking that shade. It comes back to that experimentation, but you can use up your shadows in a really valuable way. There's so many fantastic tutorials out there, even pictorials, whatever works for you, whatever inspires you. When it comes to panning it, you just really want to use it as much as possible. And as much as I recommend experimenting and trying out different looks and different shapes and different techniques, it's really important to also know what you're comfortable with and what works for you. Have a couple of go-to looks from your palette. Something simple, something dramatic. Know in advance a couple of things that will work for you for those days that you're stuck. It's also really just handy in case you have to run out super quickly and you know, okay, I can put these 3 shades in together and I'm good to go. It'll save you time, you'll be less frustrated, and you'll be more likely to reach for that palette as opposed to another one if you already know how to use it. Project Panner 99 had asked if I find it easier to pan looks or to just use the palette consistently, and I will say just using the palette consistently is what works best for me. I can't imagine trying to pan a look, to be completely honest. I think I would be bored out of my mind, but I know the value of having a few go-to looks using the same shadow. So essentially you're kind of panning the look if you're using it over and over again, but I wouldn't stick with that for a month. I personally would be really bored. I know a lot of people do that and it works for them. So that comes down to whether or not it would work for you. If panning the exact same look using the exact same shadows every single day till you finish those shadows works for you, then do it. Do what works for you. For me, I like to play around. So a couple little tricks you guys have probably already heard, but I thought that I would just share them again in case there's people who don't know. Use your shadows for different things other than an eyeshadow. You can use a shadow as a blush, use it as a contour or a bronzer, again depending on the shade and the finish. Use it in your eyebrows. Use it on top of lipstick. I did that in my last video. I layered 2 shadows from the Vice LTD on top of a purple matte lipstick because I wanted something different and I really liked the way that it looked. I hadn't done that before and it was really fun. And obviously using the shadows in different ways, you're going to get more use out of it, so you're going to finish the shadows faster. Use Fix Plus or something similar for sparkly or glitter shadows. This will just save you such a huge headache. You will not want to avoid that shade. Get a glitter primer if you need one, depending on what you're trying to work with. I know a lot of brands have glitter primers. I use the one from Too Faced. It really holds glitter on your lid and you're not going to see as much fallout. Now, sometimes with some shadows you will still see some fallout, but you are going to be more likely to reach for the shadow if you know you're not going to be left with like glitter all over your face. I mean, maybe that's what you're going for and that's cool. I've been down that road. Sometimes I just want a face full of glitter, but sometimes you want to be a little bit more pulled together. So glitter primer and Fix Plus. One little trick is to use your brush on the same part of the pan every time you use it. So for example, I have Chase here, which I have quite a big dip in, and whenever I use it, I try to concentrate my brush in this corner up here. I'm really close to hitting pan on this guy, and that's why. It's because I used the brush in that one corner, and I've been trying to always use it there, so that's where most of the product is going to be gone from. So you're going to see pan quicker. If you're brushing over the entire pan, it's going to take a lot longer for you to see pan. So you're not necessarily finishing shadow any quicker by doing that, but you will see pan quicker, I guarantee you, and that is a huge motivational factor, and the shadow will seem to go by a lot quicker once you've already hit pan. You will notice every day the pan gets a little bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, as opposed to when you swipe your brush over the entirety of the pan, you are just taking off the top layer, and you're going to be going layer by layer, and it's going to take a lot longer for you to see that pan. It can be really disheartening, and which is why I think a lot of people get frustrated and some people end up giving up. But I will say that take breaks as you need them. I took entire months off when I was doing the Naked palette. I am not doing that this year with the Vice LTD because my goal is to finish it in 12 months. But if you want to take a break, if you need to take a break, take a break. You don't owe anybody anything. Even if you are filming videos, or even if you're posting it on a blog or your Instagram, and you need to take a break, you take a break. You don't need to finish that palette in 12 months. If it's not feeling right for you, if you are feeling overwhelmed, if it's too much, if you're not having fun anymore, stop. It's not worth it. You will end up hating the palette, you will hate the project, you will just need to take a break. And you might come back to it and you may not. I took about a month or so off with the Naked palette. This would have been December of 2014. I took the entire month off. And then once January came around, I was like, you know, I really want to finish this palette this year. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I probably could have finished the palette a lot quicker than I did. I was just taking breaks because there were definitely moments when I was getting overwhelmed and I was getting frustrated, and it worked for me that way. I feel pretty confident in saying that everybody doing a project pan or a Pan That Palette really loves makeup. And Pan That Palette is so useful in learning different things about yourself. You're going to learn a lot about your preferences, and that will help guide you in the future for making new eyeshadow purchases. So I just want to end by saying the next time you open your palette, challenge yourself to try something a little bit different. Maybe something you thought wasn't going to work for you, and maybe it won't work for you, or maybe it will. You really won't know until you try. Really enjoy yourself and have fun creating new eye looks. Share them with people. Document your journey in one way or another. Even if it's just for yourself, if you're just taking photos with your iPhone and just keeping them in an album for yourself to look at and see your daily progress, that will help a lot. Inspire yourself. Be inspired by others. There's so much to learn from your palette, whether you're panning 3 shades or 20. So I hope this was helpful to you guys. I'm really hoping that over 2016 I'll be able to inspire some more people with my panning adventure. If you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button so you can follow me on my panning adventure with the Vice LTD palette. I've been really enjoying using this palette and have had so much fun creating looks. I'm hoping to put together some little get ready with me videos so I can share some of the fun looks that I've come up with. It's really already been a huge learning experience, and every day, every week, every month I'm learning something new about myself and the eyeshadow looks I like, and I'm having a really good time learning new techniques, pulling inspiration from different sources. It has been a really great experience for me. So if you're on the fence about doing a Pan That Palette, I really recommend you join in on this challenge. I think you will really enjoy yourself and learn so much. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know again if you have any comments, if there's anything I didn't touch upon in this video. We can have a discussion down below in the comments. If you have any advice, tips, or tricks for other people doing Pan That Palette, leave it down below so you guys can always go check out the comments section for a little bit more advice, a little more tips and tricks. Thank you again so much. I really truly appreciate it, and I will see you very soon in my next one. Bye.